The calendar has turned to March, meaning we're that much closer to the 2024 NCAA Tournament. Thus far, I've supplied you with teams that I don't have confidence in for 2024 March Madness. Today's video will be quite the opposite. I'll give you 3 teams I am super confident in for 2024 March Madness. As I've done in those videos, I'll present these teams in increasing order of how confident I am, concluding the video with the team I have the most confidence in. I think all 3 of the teams in today's video are capable of making a deep run in this year's NCAA tournament and could possibly win it all. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all things 2024 March Madness. Feel free to leave a comment with your thoughts or opinions. Now, on to the video. The first team on the list is the Duke Blue Devils. I know, not a very surprising pick, but spoiler, none of the teams in this video will be surprising. These are the teams I am super confident in. Yeah, I like teams like Northwestern and Florida, but I don't have supreme confidence in them to make a deep run in the tournament as I do with today's teams like Duke. Duke is ranked 10th in the AP poll after a loss to Wake Forest. They're currently plus 2,300 to win it all, the 9th team right behind Iowa State, who keeps climbing in terms of national champion odds. Duke's got a really solid squad. Thankfully, Kyle Filipowski is fine after that brutal collision he was involved in during the Wake Forest court storming. Jokes aside, Filipowski won ACC Tournament MVP last season and was the preseason favorite for ACC Player of the Year. He likely won't win the award, but that's because R.J. Davis from North Carolina has been incredible. Filipowski passed up the NBA draft last year to come back to Duke for another year, meaning the 7-footer is another year older and his game is even more mature. He's scoring more points, blocking more shots, and shooting more efficiently. But what makes Duke great is that it doesn't stop there at all. They've got 4 other players averaging double-digit points in Jared McCain, who scored 35 points against Florida State, Jeremy Roach, the longtime Blue Devil guard, and Tyrese Proctor and Mark Mitchell, who returned to Durham for his second year like Filipowski. Duke ranks 8th in adjusted efficiency margin on KenPom, 8th in adjusted offense, and 25th in adjusted defense. They're 22-6 on the season, with a 13-4 conference record, placing them 2nd in the ACC. In addition to the solid structure of their team, I take a look at their schedule and I like what I see. 3 of their 6 losses came prior to the new year, which might as well have not even have happened in my opinion. I personally do not care at all about results in November and December. One of their losses came against Pitt, more specifically Blake Hinson, who was a perfect 7 for 7 from downtown for the Panthers. It was Pitt's first win at Cameron Indoor since 1979, as they shot 50% as a team from deep. Duke started the game in a hole, and Pitt's hot shooting was able to silence every comeback effort from the Blue Devils. That loss doesn't worry me. Then they lost at UNC, and that doesn't concern me either. UNC should win that game. They were home in their first place in the ACC. Duke should win their home game on March 9th. Their most recent loss came at the hands of Wake Forest, a game in which the Demon Deacons shot 52% from 3. Duke's three-point percentage against this season is 32%, so yeah, if a team shoots 20% above that, they have a good chance to win. Hunter Salas was 11 for 13 from the field and 5 for 6 from 3 that night. He was on fire. I don't see games happening like that all the time at Duke. There's only 5 teams in the country with more Quad 1 wins than Duke, who have 6. Duke's a team I feel confident in for 2024 March Madness. Their track record shows it, and I like the phenomenal guard play they have to complement Filipowski, as well as Mark Mitchell and freshman Caleb Foster, who has put up double-digit points 8 times this season. The Duke Blue Devils are a team I am super confident in for 2024 March Madness. Moving on to team number 2, it's one I've already kind of mentioned and can say a lot of similar things about. It's Duke's rival, the number 1 team in the ACC standings, the North Carolina Tar Heels. UNC is 22-6 this season as well, with a 14-3 conference record. They are 9th overall on KenPom as they're 25th in adjusted offense and 7th in adjusted defense. North Carolina is a team I initially was going to feature in last week's video where I talked negatively about some teams. Then I stopped being a casual and I looked into the numbers. Their loss to Clemson actually asserted them as a very good team in my mind as they initially trailed 17-4. They didn't lay down and die, they fought back and made it into a competitive game. I respected them for that, but then I began doubting them after their loss to Syracuse. That's when I decided to give them a fair chance and realized they lost that game the same way I described some of Duke's losses. Judah Mintz shot the lights out for 'Cuse, pouring in 25 points in his most efficient game of the season at a 73% clip from the field. North Carolina's opponents typically shoot 40% from the field. Syracuse shot 62%. This argument I keep making about other teams shooting well isn't exactly sound, but North Carolina is one of the best defensive teams in the nation. It's unusual for a team to shoot that well against them, and you can't count on it. That's why I've got more confidence in the Tar Heels than Duke, because you could make the argument Duke is more susceptible to that type of game. UNC's got two of the best players in the ACC and likely ACC Player of the Year R.J. Davis and senior Armando Bacot. Davis is averaging over 20 points per game this season and most recently put up 42 points in a win over Miami. They've also got forward Harrison Ingram, who nearly averages a double-double, freshman guard Elliot Cadeau, and Wiley vet Cormac Ryan, who's been in college since 2018. Cormac Ryan is older than Luka Doncic. Ryan is also averaging over 17 points in his past 3 games, if we exclude his most recent game where he shot 1 for 9 from deep. They're one of those few teams with more Quad 1 wins than Duke, as they have 7. They've got the firepower for a tournament run, they've got the numbers on their side, and their head coach, Hubert Davis, he may not have much tournament experience as he's only made 1 before, but he's got more national championship appearances than Matt Painter and Shaka Smart combined. The final team, the one I am most confident in, that distinction, it belongs to the Tennessee Volunteers. I've declared them my national champions, an honor I'll probably bestow upon 5 or so more teams. But I'm confident in Tennessee. They've got the 5th best odds to win it all at plus 1,300, and for good reason. They're 5th overall in KenPom with a number 16 offense and number 4 defense, an elite offense and an even more elite defense. They've got 5 Quad 1 wins, but they've beat some tough opponents such as at Kentucky and against Alabama and Auburn. They sit atop the battle-tested SEC. They've got Dalton Knecht, a 20-point-per-game scorer who shoots over 40% from 3, and I think is one of, if not the most, skilled players in the nation. They've also got capable players in Jonas Adu, who is unstoppable in the paint on both offense and defense, Zakai Ziegler, who can fill up the points column and leads the team in assists, and senior guards Josiah Jordan-James and Santiago Vescovi. I kept talking about that weird thing that happens to Duke and North Carolina when their opponents can't miss. That doesn't happen at Tennessee. The Vols have the 3rd lowest opponent field goal percentage in the nation at a minuscule 38%, an elite defense. They're 22-6 with 3 losses prior to the new year. I already explained how I feel about those, and their 3 losses have come at Mississippi State, at Texas A&M, and against South Carolina. All 3 teams are ranked in the top 60 on KenPom, and 2 of them were Quad 1 games, leading to a not great Quad 1 record for Tennessee, but that means they're 17-1 in games outside of Quad 1. They've also played one of the toughest schedules in the country, with their strength of schedule coming in at 13th on KenPom and non-conference strength of schedule at 20th. The SEC is a tough conference, and Tennessee has fought tooth and nail to get to the top, with their most recent win over Auburn solidifying their position. Now we get to Rick Barnes, the longtime coach of Texas, who has now made 5 NCAA tournaments with Tennessee. In those 5, he's had mixed results. He's exited in the round of 64 once, in the round of 32 twice, and has made 2 Sweet 16s, including last season. No crazy success, but he's got a very good team this year. A theme with all 3 of these teams in this video is their maturity. Tennessee's top 3 scorers, Knecht, Adu, and Ziegler, are all upperclassmen. I don't see Rick Barnes holding them back, but instead, he's offered an opportunity to break through and make the second Final Four of his career. To recap, the 3 teams I am super confident in for 2024 March Madness, we had Duke, North Carolina, and Tennessee. That does it for this one. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for all things 2024 March Madness. Be on the lookout for the next video. Feel free to leave a comment with your thoughts or opinions. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.